a little bit of boba, a side of armpit, and an unusual dose of a crying Kazuha. I'm sure at least one of those things garnered your attention. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTube. It's your Slime King, Dejima Man, and welcome to another video. I've decided to consolidate my thoughts on Ayato, Yelan, and the 2.6 Spiral Abyss in one singular video solely because I know all of you are tired of seeing the same topics being covered over and over again. This is your once-in-a-blue-moon dose of slime condensated Genshin thoughts wrapped up into one singular video. Before we begin, I urge each and every one of you to stick around to the latter part of this video where I unveil the greatest team comp in all of existence. First up, let's talk Kamisato Ayato, the talk of the town, the smooth, boba-sucking big bro to everyone's favorite friendless Ayaka. Ayato is a very balanced unit that fits a similar role to Child. He is rotationally less demanding but equally satisfying to play. I tried his trial out multiple times, a skill that's satisfying at burst, taking a little bit too long to cast, but otherwise smooth and provides some decent quadratically scaled off-field hydro application, but its multipliers aren't good enough to focus on. To continue the comparison with Child, he fits into almost the same teams: Vape teams, Electrocharge teams, and Freeze teams. He can also be a good enabler for Gene Sunfire. He does have energy recharge issues though because of his 80 cost burst. That comes into play especially if you want to enable another Pyro unit in the team. His best free-to-play weapon and drip is Amenoma Kageuchi. Black Sword is good, and Haran Gepaku Futsu is his best in slot but not worth pulling if you already have a Jade Cutter or Mist Splitter. All in all, he is a fun and balanced unit that you shouldn't have any problems with should you choose to pull for him, regardless of what may come. Now, you are probably wondering why I am speedrunning my thoughts on Ayato and why I am still stuck in this goddamn trial, and that's because of this midget zombie right here. That's right, I tried and I got my third Chi-Chi instead, and as such, I will not be going too in-depth into a unit I currently do not own nor have played tested thoroughly. The Slime King may have a gambling addiction, but I gamble responsibly, my friends. However, what eases the pain of losing to Chi-Chi Fallen is armpits. Yes! No! Excuse me? Not these armpits! Yes, these ones. The Armpit Archon. The 5-star Xingqiu. God, I hate that phrase. Now, I don't talk about my dreams or the dreams of others, but this segment will only serve as a gentle reminder to you all. Do not get overhyped by whatever drip marketing or otherwise is fed into your monkey brain. I urge each and every one of you to temper your expectations like a sword being hammered away slowly, one strike at a time until it is tempered to a cool steel. There are mumblings and rumblings bubbling within the community right now that Yelan is a 5-star Xingqiu. As much as you think you want that, take it with a grain of salt. Let's take Fischl for example. Fischl is a good unit, but not as good as Xingqiu. However, Fischl is still very much one of the best units in the game, and anyone who thinks otherwise probably thinks Electro is bad, and at that point, you can entirely disregard their opinion. So one opinion could say Yae Miko is just a 5-star Fischl, but more clunky. Dreams of Yae were already out in the open before her release. Everyone knew what they were getting, but they were sorely disappointed anyway. It was as if they were tranced by the malicious spirits within. Yae Miko is OP. Yae Miko is OP. Yae Miko is OP! Over and over again. But when the consensus was becoming she's just sorta kinda like a 5-star Fischl, everyone wanted out. Now the comparison isn't exactly the same. Xingqiu is a more universally known character to be broken. So if Yelan is his 5-star version, then Yelan will be absolutely broken. And that's the thing. You are setting your expectations so high of a unit that hasn't even been released. The question is why? Is it the dreams? Is it because you want to be freed from the shackles of Xingqiu forever? Most of you already set your expectations too high of Yae Miko. You fed into the hype so much that you pulled day one, found out she wasn't your cup of tea, found out the plethora of bugs in her kit, and only then did you realize she wasn't for you. After you pulled. If that doesn't convince you of anything, and you refuse to lower your heightened expectations and hype, then I'll leave you with a few famous words from Albedo Weinstein. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting not to get in the ass. Speaking of insanity, let's talk 2.6 Spiral Abyss. 12-1 first half is simply a Venti check. Second half is just 2 ruined guards. 12-2 first half is simply a Venti check. Second half is a conglomeration of a freaking nightmare without freezing an Emo unit. 12-3 first half is simply a Hydro check, and second half is simply a Cryo check. This isn't all that dissimilar to the Pyrolector Abyss, but the elemental checks are now on both sides. Alright, Venti Impact jokes aside, you do not need Venti in this Abyss, he just makes your life easier. His value, as I said in my last video, is on a sliding scale. And in this Abyss, he is broken. But Sucrose can do a serviceable job, and so can Anemo MC. However, to make it a lot more easier, you would still need 2 Anemo units for both halves. Of course, you will have an easier time if you bring the elemental counters, but you can somehow brute force it if you are into suffering. The real winner of this Abyss though, is the team you are watching right the frick now. Cryzuha, Kazuha, Yunjin, Xingqiu, Chongyun. Kazuha is literally crying as you are making use of him as a cryo DPS with Yunjin's and Chongus's buff. I know, it's a terrible name, but it's either that or the curse of awareness. This video is probably the only goddamn time you're ever going to see this team cop showcased. But in this Abyss, this team simply annihilates. It's these kinds of teams that make me feel like I've achieved peak Genshin Ascension. This is a C1 Kazuha running a Cryo Goblet with 4 BB. He is supported by a C6 Crown Yunjin Burst with the added survivability of Crystallized Shields, with a C6 Xingqiu adding in more damage and damage reduction, and Chong's Cryo Infusion and skill cooldown reduction allows Kazuha to scale every 4 seconds. You would never believe this team actually functions. The eyes belong to the beholder. Behold, Cryzuha. All hail, Cryzuha. So, what are my final thoughts on this 2.6 Abyss then? It's better and it's easier if you have the Anemo units that can CC. I'm glad the Wolf Lord is gone and I can run almost any team with the units I have. However, there are more restrictions when it comes to elemental checks, as now you need a Hydro and Cryo unit on each half. However, that is better than having to be forced to run a Geo unit for the Wolf Lord. This Abyss unlocks Cryzuha, a team I bet you will never play. Overall, what I will say is this Abyss is more fun than the last one, as the Wolf Lord is not fun to fight at all, nor are any of the Baptismal Bishops. The Lector Herald national team might be a pain in the ass to fight, but at least they are somewhat stationary and groupable with no invulnerability windows. The cancer on buses, that is the Hydro Heralds, are still the bane of my existence, but at least they can be frozen. So yes, this Abyss is more fun, but almost equally difficult if you again don't have the units for the elemental checks. Is Cryzuha the new meta team? Tell me down in the comments below, or better yet, just comment all hail Cryzuha! Or come at me at Twitch, over at twitch.tv/DejimaMan, where I stream Genshin almost every day. This is our parting. Oh, and by the way, join the Slime Kingdom Discord. Farewell.